Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Below the Line. My name is Andres Ramirez, and I'm here with my co host, Mr. Zach Houston Scott. First, I would like to thank him for joining me today in talking about, yes, The Last of Us, and yes, that controversial episode. It feels like it's 2020 again, but we'll see. Hey, Zach, how are you?
Hey, doing pretty good. We're going to be talking some Last of Us, if that's correct.
Yep, Last of Us Through the Valley, Season 2, Episode 2. Arguably either the most brilliant episode of TV or the most controversial one, depends on where you stand on that equation.
We
But
live we live in a world where Game of Thrones and Star Wars shows and Lost season finale exists. So, I mean, I don't think this is the most controversial, but it's up there. And like you said, it's living like 2020 for those who never played the game.
yeah, but before we start, have you seen anything cool? Like what's new in your life? I sort of feel like I spoke to you not so late last night working on our film, but besides that, how is everything?
It's going good, yeah. I think in terms of watching new stuff, I saw a recording of Blood Brothers recently. It's a play on YouTube that you can find. That was really cool. Outside of that, I'm definitely going to check out the re-release of Revenge of the Sith that came
Ooh,
out. Yeah, so that's good.
are you getting the Darth Vader popcorn bucket? Is that a thing in Canada?
It is, but I don't think so. It just becomes a little bit junk after a while because, I mean, you get so many of them. But, I mean, it is cool. Like, you get a Darth Vader buckethead. I mean, if Revenge of the Sith came out today, it definitely would have, I mean, it would have had the popcorn bucket and everything like that.
Yeah, I think it's right now it's much more nostalgic, right? I'd be curious how well it does in the box office, because it has competition, but not so much, right? It's just the accountant and nothing else really.
Yeah, I mean, Sinners and Minecraft will probably make a big comeback, but we'll see. We'll see.
Both Warner, if
Yeah.
you have the chance, I recommend watching Warfare. That's what I watched last weekend, and
Ooh.
it's really good. Alex Garland, he directed Civil War, but he's best known for Ex Machina. It's a wonderful, well, wonderful is not the proper term, but it really portrays war in the modern sense and the brutality of it. So, for example, if you like the opening of Saving Private Ryan, D-Day, this is similar in brutality, not in terms of the scope of the battle, but basically it made me believe that I would be a pretty useless soldier. But it's pretty well filmed. The prosthetics, the makeup is really well done. It really puts into perspective that sometimes in war you don't even know who you're fighting against. Like bullets would just fly, and while I don't know if they sound realistic, they sound frightening because you don't know where they're coming from. For me, it was a shame that I couldn't watch it in IMAX, but if you have a chance, or anybody in our audience has a chance, please watch that movie. Really good
Okay.
war movie.
I mean,
Uh,
Alex Garland's on a roll. Just, I mean, and he has another movie coming out this year too that he wrote. So,
which one?
28 years later.
He wrote that one?
Yeah, he wrote 28 Days Later back in 2002. I think that's what got him to Hollywood's attention on him was that movie.
Oh, yeah, that's true. The one that it's shot in an iPhone. Well,
Yeah.
supposedly, but we'll see. It looks too nice to be shot on an iPhone. Like the sensor looks nothing like an iPhone, but we'll see. We'll see how
Oh,
that is.
he's really
Um,
talented as a I like him more as a writer personally. I mean, he also did the movie Dread back in
oh, yeah.
2012. So, yeah.
The superhero movie, kind of Robocop esque, that didn't really make a huge impact box office wise, right?
Yeah, but it's now got a bit of a cult following. And I
Yeah.
mean, looking back at the movie too, it just got on the side. Apparently, he completed directing that movie from its original director, Pete Travis. So, no, that was really something cool to look up.
Did you had a chance to watch Sinners?
No, I still have to. That is on my watch list this weekend. But just the rave it's gotten from audiences and just from what I'm hearing, I definitely do need to check this out, especially because I'm a big fan of Ryan Coogler and what he's done for. I mean, put aside like him doing Black Panther and Creed.
Creed.
Fruitvale Station is a wonderfully well made film, like is craft. So I'm very happy to see him doing something original and that's very out of
Eh,
genre. I mean, you're kind of like, eh.
I mean, it's Dusk Until Dawn, the Robert Rodriguez film with George Clooney. Is that the name?
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
that's great. That's right.
it's kind of like that, but not like that, if you know what I mean. It's original in the sense of the element of it. I was going to ask you, what are you expecting of the movie?
Vampires and racial tensions. I mean, it's set in the South in the 20th century. Yeah, no, I'm curious to check it out. I also want to see Until Dawn out of curiosity.
Ooh, the new horror film, right? Produced by Sam Raimi.
Yes, that David F. Sandberg, the guy who directed the Shazam movies and Annabelle Creation, did.
Oh, so he's going back to his roots because that's how he started, right? He did the Lights something
It's
movie, right? Lights
yeah.
Out, yeah, based on that short that made him famous.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I was gonna say just with Sinners, maybe expect less vampires and more brother drama, even though brothers are played by the same actor.
Okay, that's been
Like,
happening a lot this year for some reason. Have you noticed that?
kind of, yeah. I think in many ways the film it's interesting. I don't want to spoil that much, but like the first hour feels very about this particular thing, and then the vampire twist kind of comes out of nowhere, and the second part of the movie is like a very classical vampire movie in the sense of, the rules of vampire, you have to let them in kind of type of thing. But I won't say the motivations or anything. Maybe we can discuss it next week once you've seen it. It's an
Definitely.
interesting film, and the cinematography is definitely the standard. That's 70 mil print. It's amazing. I mean, unfortunately, here there was no 70 mil print, so I watched it on the DCP, but it looks beautiful. Shot on film too.
I'll check it out. No, I was just saying though, it's funny though how we've had like same actors play like twins or like different characters. Like we had Mickey 17 and then we have Sinners and I don't know if you heard or saw this one, Alto Nights with Robert De Niro.
Oh, the one that flopped.
Yeah, the one that flopped. So very interesting. Very interesting that they've all kind of come around the same
Are they
time.
all Warner?
Uh yeah, they are all Warner. Someone must
Because yeah, they were like, this is a year of brotherhood. Uh,
that
I
lives
mean,
on our brothers.
if you go back to December, I guess you could say Mufasa is also about brotherhood. So I guess let's start talking about The Last of Us episode 2 without spoilers. We'll give a spoiler warning. I am curious, how was your watching experience? Because you watched this with your fiance. How was that watching experience for you? And I'll share mine in a bit.
Well, okay, I didn't watch it necessarily with her because I just watched it on my own. But I will say I was a little surprised and shocked that they actually went ahead and did this episode sooner. Or at the very least, they got to this plot point I thought would have taken a little bit more time, like another episode or two. But yeah, here we are. I guess now we've gotten to that point. I will say this, just to be nice, it's very well shot. And to the credit of the actress playing Abby, Caitlin Dever, I thought she did a really good job, all things considered.
She's a
But
better Ellie, though.
100%, 100% better, Ellie.
She's a better Ellie. And I don't know, I think that's part of the, I don't know, the weirdness of it. Because in the games, she's a completely different person. Not just physically, but in the way how she behaves, if that makes sense.
No,
Were you able to watch it in one sitting, or did you had to stop?
no, I was able to get through it in one sitting. I think because I already knew, in a sense, what was going to happen. I will say though, there was a little bit of a difference though in terms of like
There were.
there were, but I don't know. Just so much happened in this episode that, again, I don't understand why they didn't prolong that ending to be one more episode or two. Because, yeah, it just felt like they were rushing for no reason. Like there was really no point.
Well, I think in many ways they're emulating the game because that was in the first hour and a half to 2 hours of gameplay. Uh, but with major changes in the story because Joel has a different arc in the game up to this point that he has in the show. Um, but I agree with you. The reason I asked that is because I couldn't watch it in one sitting. I had to do it in three. It was just
Mhm.
too. I don't know. I find that the more it went on, the more I angrier I got with the episode. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I do agree with you. It is very well shot. I mean, props to them that they went to Whistler in BC, close to Vancouver, I guess to the Hollywood in the north, and they shot this in an actual blizzard, so they say. Although I'm not really sure if that added anything, but the ability to brag about it. I don't know. What were your thoughts on that aspect of the production element?
I mean, I know it was one of the biggest show filming here in Vancouver, and everyone was really excited that was a part of it and also wanted to be on it if they could. And it brought a lot of attention because the first season was filmed in Alberta, and this one is filmed in Vancouver or the greater Vancouver area. So, I mean, props to them for utilizing the whole land as much as possible for a production like this. Yeah, definitely takes advantage of the snow aspect of it all.
Of course. So I guess what were your thoughts? Like, if you had to rate it without spoiling it, what were your thoughts on it?
I mean, again, it's hard for me to say because I am judging this as an adaptation, which we've talked a lot about on the show. So, I mean, as an adaptation, I guess it does some things worse. I mean, we will go into spoilers on that too, but I mean, as if I were to watch it without any context of the game, I'd probably give it like maybe a 6 or a 5. Like maybe the same thing I would give The Last Jedi because I mean, when I saw it the first time, I was like, okay, let's see where this is going. Let's see where this is going. I don't have that luxury here, unfortunately, just because I know what happens. And for those who don't want to get spoiled, you'll see why in a few episodes. And I mean, honestly, like as an adaptation, because I mean, just judging as an own, it's 6 out of 10. I think it's a little worse, like maybe a 4 out of 10, because I think back to that and I'm like, well, the game did this better. And I mean, the way it was like shot and directed,
E-
and like,
Even the lighting,
yes,
the
the
room
lighting.
where that thing happens in the game is much more smaller. I don't know if you
Mhm.
noticed that. Like, you feel like claustrophobic in that sense. And well, I think Caitlin Denver does a fantastic job. Her casting is also very bad when it comes to the realism of the thing that happens uh, in that scene in particular.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's just kind of the norm of the show, though. I mean, everyone is a little off or miscast in a sense. Like that was an issue in season one too, but I mean, here it's getting a
yeah,
little more prevalent, I guess I could say. So,
yeah, I think I would agree with you. I think I would give this honestly a 4 based on a TV show or as an adaptation. Like, if I had been following it since season 1, which I have, I think this episode is very contrived, clustered, and like the whole thing that happens in Jackson with the battle felt like a Game of Thrones ripoff. It kind of feels like what the night that episode we couldn't see in season 8 should have been, but they kind of forgot which show they were making. I mean, and I think the guy who directed this episode has directed Game of Thrones, and I was looking at a shot comparison of when the infected break the wall, and apparently it's very similar to a shot in Game of Thrones. So I don't know. It feels interesting, but I sort of felt that was a distraction from the A plot of the episode. And like there were so many scenes where I was like, okay, what is the point? Because in the game they served a purpose, but here I was like, why are Ellie and Jesse hanging out in the wit scene? Because in the game it's a purpose, and it set up two characters that will be very important in the future of the show. So I would agree with you. So shall we talk spoilers now?
Yeah, let's get into spoilers. When you mentioned like he directed a lot of Game of Thrones, I mean, not to Game of Thrones, Pedro Pascal is no longer a main character on the show because yeah, he met his untimely ends to go and be Mr. Fantastic, which that was a thing for those who don't know. He was filming Fantastic Four at the same time as Last of Us in Vancouver. So, yeah, he filmed for a couple weeks and then went off to go Marvel stuff.
I think that's interesting because I don't know if that's the reason he got killed,
Well, no, I
but
mean, for those who haven't played the game, that's exactly what happens in there. So, yeah.
let's go to a more beat by beat sort of scenario. Okay, we start in Jackson, right? They
Hmm.
have this meeting. Ellie is supposed to be on patrol. Jesse wakes her up, and that's exactly how it's in the game.
Yeah.
Uh, how were you feeling with the episode up to that point?
Fine, honestly. I mean, again, I played the game. I knew what was going to happen, and sure enough, you know, knew how it was going to track.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think the change that they did of sending Joe and Diana, what's her name? What's her
Diana,
name?
yeah, Dina,
Eh,
Dina.
Dina was a horrible change because in the game it's Tommy. And
Hmm.
Tommy serves a huge purpose later on in the game that drives Ellie insane in her quest for vengeance. So I don't know how they're gonna justify that part of the story, which I guess will be season three. Because another thing, I don't know if you've heard, they're splitting the second game into two seasons. So I'm pretty sure this season will end in the theater before the twist, if you remember the
I
game.
do, yeah. I don't. I kind of was hoping they would do the full game for season two because I think they're already at that part where, I mean, however many episodes are left, they could finish it off and then season three could pick up right away and give us something new. So,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. So obviously, then there's that whole like. I
Jackson attack.
think when I start having issues is when Abby goes on her own and leaves the cabin where her friends are hanging out with, or hanging out. Basically, after they realize that it's going to be impossible to, um, you know, get inside Jackson. I don't know if you also had an issue. Your issue started there.
I mean, I was enjoying kind of the change of it, and it gave a new perspective of the town that we didn't even see in the game personally. So, I was intrigued. I was like, okay, what are we doing with this? And even some of those changes, like you were talking about with Tommy, I was curious to see what they were going to do next. Because I think compared to episode one, which was so lenient on the game, like recreating those moments, here at least I was kind of seeing something new and questioning, oh, well, what's going to happen next? And kept myself guessing.
Yeah, the reason I had an issue with that is because I always thought the way she meets Joel is very contrived. Like, she just happens to run into the guy she wants to kill, and the guy saves her just when she's about to get eaten. But the reason I thought it was more contrived in the show is because, she's very clumsy and she falls down, right? Creating the avalanche and waking up the dead or whatever. And then she's outrunning them when they're supposed to be faster. And then when they are on their horse, like being chased by the undead or the infected, this random guy happens to hit the right pipe where the vines are, allowing the infected to go to the town and not chase Joel, Avi, and therefore kind of giving her the green light. I don't know if that was an issue for you in terms of how they wrote that into the episode.
Not really. I was kind of fine with it, honestly, but yeah.
And then I guess the bloater thing was cool, but I just thought that that whole sequence was like very Game of Thrones esque.
Yeah, it was.
And damn, those snipers were really good, especially Maria. She was like somehow managed to escape all of them and release the dogs. And the bloater sequence was good, which is also a nod to the game, I suppose, because that's the easiest way to kill them, right?
Yeah.
With the flamethrower. Although I'm surprised they haven't managed to get like military flamethrowers that you don't have to be that close to the infected. Uh,
Mhm.
Considering that it's supposed to be the U.S., but it is what it is. So, where did you start having issues with the episode?
Honestly, the same place I had issues in the game when Abby takes Dina and Joel into the room and brutally kills him.
Okay, so there was one change that I actually liked. Could you
And
guess
what's
which
that?
one was it? That
Was
Joel is
it?
less of a moron in the show versus the game. Basically, he doesn't say, well, if you remember the cutscene, Tommy's like, hey, we're just here in Jackson. I'm Tommy, this is my brother Joe Miller. And they're like, oh, this is Joe. And that kind of gets him to get shot. I kind of appreciated how it was by, I guess, Dina calling him Joel that she's like, oh, that's the Joel. Although I guess he's pretty lucky there's only one Joel in Jackson, I guess.
Yeah. Was it
Um,
true?
yeah, imagine if she killed the wrong Joel. So, what were your thoughts on the scene? Because I think it's pretty drastically different than it is from the game.
I mean, just the look of it was I mean, we alluded to it earlier that everything's bright and I mean, very open ended. Like, I'll give credit to the game. It was dark, it was very shot, like, serious. And I mean, you as the player were witnessing firsthand, like, what was going to happen to him. And here, it's just a lot of, like, Abby talking. And even this is where the actress Caitlin Denver really suffers because she's not menacing. I'll give credit to the game that yeah, that was a menacing woman. Her build was strong and she was very much attacking him. Whereas she looks like a little teenager just attacking a grown man for no reason. And you got Bella Ramsey on the ground, like screaming and making faces all the time. Which again, to her credit, she sells it very well. But I mean, it's just a lot of rage and anger. There's no grief. There's nothing like in the game that was like sad and people wanted to witness more. I don't know. It was just a very odd adaptation of that scene that I mean, I didn't like in the game, but I'll give credit. Like it shocked me, and this I kind of saw it coming, and I'm like, well, it's just the game, but not done as well. Even Pascal's acting is just going through the motions.
Well, I thought the biggest change they did. Well, it's kind of funny because they kind of adapted it bit by bit, but they took some creative liberties that I thought were cringe, but also kind of kill the reason of why show Avi's perspective, right? What I mean by that is in the game, she just kills him. She doesn't give him a monologue like, that NPC that you killed, that was my dad. Like here she's like, we have this code where we don't kill people that cannot defend themselves, but I will kill you. And she even flirts with him at some point in the episode when she's like, you're handsome, congratulations. Like, that was so bizarre, and it didn't look menacing. And in the game she was just there to do her business, if you know what I mean. But in this version she was kind of like enjoying it, to a point that even her friends were like, oh man, this girl is really, when she said to us, I'm going to make you suffer, she really took it to heart. But even her friends seem much more empathetic, to the point that, I don't know if you remember in the game, Mel, the, I guess, the nurse that drugs Dina, wants to kill Ellie, but in this show they kind of just leave her there. Which I was like, Ellie, don't go and hug Joel. Just grab something and go after them. Like, you can go and kill them. Because in the game they knock her out, they hit her. Here they just kind of walk past her, and she can literally stand up and, I don't know, grab a gun and shoot them. But I don't know. I thought that was pretty bizarre on how they adapted it. I don't
Yeah.
know if you've shared that same weirdness. And then the fact that she was punching him with her fists, I'm like, she's like 60 kilos at much at the very worst. Like, how is she actually doing damage to wound him drastically as he is in the game? And I also hated the shot where they kind of focus on the golf stick to
Yeah.
ensure the Joel one happens in the TV show. But I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on that, or on how they adapt that more uh, thoroughly?
I kind of gave my thoughts already. Yeah, no. I'm curious to see what happens next and where it'll go and how much more they'll adapt faithfully to the game and how they'll deviate. But no, we'll see in the next episode. Because,
So I guess you're gonna keep watching.
yeah, I'll keep watching. Why? Are you going to stop suddenly?
I don't know. I just think. I mean, are you curious to see if the rates are going to drop? The ratings?
Probably, yes. Yes.
I mean, people are comparing this to The Walking Dead when Glenn died, but I think it's
Mm,
very different, because I think, as bizarre and dividing as it was that moment in the Walking Dead show, Negan was at least an interesting character, to the fact that they're still milking that IP to this day, with Negan being one of the main characters of the spin offs. Um, and he had more of a motivation that you understood, and he kind of launched a whole story arc thing. And
and
go for it.
Oh, I to add on to that, like with Walking Dead, it deviated so much from its original source that people were kind of guessing and not sure of who was going to live and who was going to die. Like it was thrown completely out the window by like middle of its run. So, I mean, this is basically an almost one-to-one adaptation. So people saw it was coming and knew what was going to
Yeah.
happen.
The thing is, I think it's interesting. The reason I'm saying, like, are you going to watch? Because we play the game, and because this is split into two seasons, like the second game, I kind of know that this season is going to end in disappointment. Because most likely they'll end the season when in the game you fight as Abby and you have to beat the shit out of Ellie. And that's probably going to be the ending of this season,
That's
with maybe a flashback episode with Pedro Pascal to milk
yeah.
him a little bit more.
That's fair. They'll definitely utilize him a little bit more in flashbacks or something. So
Well, they're doing the space mission thing in the museum for sure. That sequence, they're doing it in this season for sure.
yeah,
But I don't know. I just think this season is going to end in disappointment, and the next season is going to end up in even more disappointment because the end of Last of Us Part 2 is bleak and there's no hope in it. And well, there's not a definitive ending because even Ellie walks away kind of. She's going to off an adventure, and there's that shot post credits, and well, that game is seemingly canceled. So it makes me curious on what they're going to do with that. But that's why I asked. I'll probably keep watching, but I might not be as engaged as not that I ever was, but not as engaged as you know to fully care about it. Like I don't know if I watch it Sunday night as soon as it hits, if you know what I mean.
No, I get you. I get you.
Um, but yeah, I guess it'll be interesting to see how much they do. Uh, one last question: did you thought that they should have recasted Bella Ramsey as Ellie?
Uh, yeah, I see that poor woman get a lot of hate online. I can't really speak onto that. More or less, I thought they cast the best person they thought they could for the role. Would there have been other people that looked like Ellie? Absolutely. But I mean, we got to understand like, if Tom Holland can look like Nathan Drake in the Uncharted series, then
He's
why?
not Nathan Drake.
Well, no, he's not. But I'm just saying, like, if that's who they want to cast, like people who don't look like the games, then might as well. Because I mean, if Bella Ramsey was the face of Ellie, like, then she probably wouldn't get the controversy before Ashley Johnson. So
Well, to be fair, the Uncharted game is probably a flop. Not the game, the movie.
the movie.
It failed to grasp an audience when they should have done an Indiana Jones and find like a charismatic Harrison Ford like because that was Nathan Drake in the games, but I don't know. That seems like another kind of worms. I think Sony went with their hottest actor and a guy that they're pretty comfortable working with. But it's interesting because I read somewhere that they casted Caitlin Denver so she matches Bella Ramsey in terms of physicality and face,
Yeah.
but I just don't know if Bella Ramsey has the range or the physicality to do the horrible things that Ellie is about to do in the season. Also, I cannot wait for the Abby smash sequence in the boat.
Oh,
If
say.
you know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
But we'll probably see that in season 3, unfortunately. But that sequence is going to be fun. Um, but yeah, well, I guess we survived Joel in one. Anything else you want to add before you sign us off?
Nope. I think that's about it. Yeah, for those who watched it, for all the critics, for all the audiences, for those who loved and hate it, this is what it was like back in 2020, but now in television form. We'll keep you guys posted about what's happening next week, what we'll see, what we'll check out. And yeah, would you like to sign us off, Andres?
Just to add one note on that, I just find it interesting that Neil Druckmann found a way to divide audiences into different formats. So I guess congrats to him because he has made gamers feel miserable and now people that watch TV feel miserable to the point that even top critics refuse to review it. If you know who I'm talking about, you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be interesting nonetheless. No, but you sign us off. I sign us in. Come on, it's your thing.
Okay. Well, let's chat with it. I'm Zach Houston. That's Andres Ramirez. You can follow us on our socials at the Zach Houston and Jose Andres 2096 and
Jaro.
sorry, Jaro 2096. Wow, that's the first time I've ever done that. And as well as Below the Line 2025. Yeah, take it easy and have a good night.
And also make sure to like, follow us, and subscribe. And please tell us how to improve. We always want to do that. And bye bye.
Bye bye.